Primary children learning to sing in Portuguese. A citizenship class discussing the meaning of being British.
Fish and chips.
Reception children being taught Spanish. And a technology class working on designs from Brazil. 4 contrasting activities in 4 different schools, but with one common factor: a scheme to connect classrooms from around the world with Britain. In this programme, we'll be seeing how the schools are responding to the scheme, each in distinctive ways, and using the contact with other countries and cultures to broaden their teaching and learning. 2 of the schools we're featuring are making connections with Mexico, and the other 2 schools are linking up with Brazil.
Oh, fantastic. So you've done 2 similar ones, but the other way around. That's really good. So you've worked on each other's designs a little bit. Well done.
At South Dartmoor Community College in Ashburton, it's the technology department that's taking the lead in developing a Brazilian partnership. Their partner school in the city of Recife may not have the same equipment, but they do have plenty of fresh ideas. This is a transatlantic collaboration on designing and casting window decorations.
It sort of makes the whole process more exciting because these are drawings done from completely different people I don't know, where the culture's very different.
I think it's quite amazing because it's someone who's come from like the opposite side of the world and like someone I've never met before.
The designs are programmed into a laser cutter and turned into moulds. These moulds will be sent back to Brazil, and then, with the help of a video conference link, pupils in both countries will share lessons on casting.
It would be fantastic if we could make it and demonstrate it to them. There's a fantastic opportunity for the students to experience the creativity of other countries and indeed other cultures. You know, tech is just wow factor anyway.
South Dartmoor, which also has a partner school in Thailand, is aiming to establish links in 4 continents. The principal has been to Brazil twice. More reciprocal visits are planned.
I think someone once said that you can only be world-class if you are world-aware. I think that's very important. I also think that whenever you work with schools in other parts of the world, you learn things that you just did not know. We've also learned quite a lot about their cultural ways of working. The very fact that in Brazil you can still hug and touch and kiss and all the things that have gone out of the politically correct way of working in this country.
The college's Year 9 pupils are also actively involved in developing the bond with Brazil by exchanging information about their different ways of life.
Maybe we should divide it up into stuff about the school and then stuff about tech.
That's tech.
Definitely show perhaps the bike sheds and the buses, and you've got the where you eat.
So tell me what you're doing here.
We're doing a collage of like our school life, how different it is for their life to our life.
In which way is it different?
What time they get up in the morning, how long's their day?
And how long they get out, like how they get to school, like what transport they use.
¿Cuántas orejas tienen? Una, dos. ¿Y ojos? Una, dos. Muy bien.
Contact with Mexico is having a significant impact on the curriculum at Willingdon Primary, on the outskirts of Eastbourne. Spanish has now been introduced to all years by a full-time languages teacher who's also a part-time balloon twister.
Right, what sort of animals do you think they might have in Mexico? Come up with some more ideas again then.
Cat, spiders, snake.
Snake, that's a good idea. Ojos, muy bien. With the earlier years, I give them the basics, colours, parts of the body, general hellos and goodbyes and things like that. And then once they've got to grips with that, then yes, then we move on to talking about Mexico, other countries. Why are we learning Spanish? Well, it's because it's the 2nd biggest language in the world.
Mexican history and geography had already been introduced as a theme for the Year 4 curriculum. Now the head teacher and class teacher have visited the country, the work has taken on a whole new dimension.
This happens every morning before their lessons start. It's to wake them up. Activation, it's called. And it's enhanced my teaching dramatically. We revamped the curriculum following my visit. So I want you to work as a group to look carefully at these photographs and see what you can find out about schools in Cordoba. I collected a lot of resources, but probably the most important two main categories are the photographs and videos clips I brought back and the memories and the first-hand experience, because I don't think anything can beat that.
There's a lot of differences because they have bar windows and they have bars over their windows and we don't.
They have a PE teacher and we just have our normal teacher for our PE lesson.
They do activation every morning.
I think you should do that in this country as well.
Yeah, because it wakes us up in the morning.
The global influence is spreading across the curriculum and spilling outside the classroom as well.
I would like every year group to be linked with another country to really make learning meaningful. And the other thing that's going to develop, we have a community event at the end of every year. Last year we focused on China because of the Beijing Olympics, and this year we're going to have a Mexican fiesta, and that's very exciting. We're looking, I've been in touch with various people and we're hoping to have a Mexican group here and Mexican food and link with the Mexican community.
It's this sort of recognition that children should think about the wider world and be prepared for life and work in a global society that's being fostered by international partnerships. Schools wanting to become involved are encouraged to form clusters within their area. A district link can then be created with schools in the same district of another country. Willingdon Primary has teamed up with its neighbour, Willingdon Community School. This Year 8 citizenship class has already been learning about Mexican customs and festivals. Now pupils are being asked to consider what icons and characteristics define Britain.
The Sex Pistols punk band.
I've heard Sex Pistols as well.
They went over to America and weren't that successful over there, and they're a British band.
TV show, we have like Britain's Got Talent and X Factor.
What do you think Mexicans think about British people at the moment?
I think they think we're big-headed and stuff like that.
The head of citizenship is one of two teachers who went to Veracruz in 2008.
It gets them a chance to think that actually the students in Mexico are no different to them. You know, they've got the same hopes and aspirations, so it makes them think about their own lives, their own culture, but also the fact that people in other countries, have the same dreams that they do.
The aim is for British and Mexican pupils to exchange ideas and images for a mural at both schools that reflects their two cultures, without, of course, resorting to stereotypes.
I think that they might stereotype us like we stereotype them as having the typical English foods and languages, and just typical English sights like black cabs and red telephone boxes. We are really a multicultural place, new dances, new languages.
The head of modern foreign languages, overseeing this session, also went to Mexico.
Right, what kind of things do you mean? Things is a bit of a general term.
What football teams they support and just in general, what they do in their spare time and stuff.
I think the children in Eastbourne in particularly do not have a big view of the world. And I think linking with a country like Mexico, which has so many different other problems than the one we have, will help them to understand better the wider community. I think it will actually open their eyes on different problems. I mean, Mexico, and we also learn Mexico in different subjects in school. They could do some Spanish with us in languages. They will be looking at volcanoes, and big part is on Mexico. So it's all related as well. So I think they will learn quite a lot.
Once branded a failure, now heralded as outstanding, West Drayton Primary in West London is building on its success by reaching out to Brazil. The head teacher who's overseen the school's transformation has made 2 trips to Sao Paulo, and a 3rd visit is planned with a new languages teacher. And if he wants to chat with a Brazilian before that, he can meet one most days in the school hall.
Olá, Tochi. Tudo bem? Tudo bem, e você?
Tochi and his sister-in-law Claudia are part of a team of play assistants who run the after-school club.
Queria falar com a Vânia sobre as lições. Sim? Quando posso falar? I was discussing with Tochi the possibility of continuing to have lessons with his wife, and I send newspaper articles which I use from the BBC website, and we read them together and talk about the issues, and it's a brilliant way of learning a bit of Portuguese.
Portuguese isn't taught at the school, but it will be shortly, just as soon as the languages teacher can speak it herself, to add to her French and Russian.
What do we think of that? I'm trying to learn. At the moment, our children are learning French, but from September we'll be offering Portuguese to years 3 and 4. It would be wonderful if our children, just like our year 5 and 6 children now have been writing and communicating with the children of France, we'd love the year 3-4 children to be doing the same in Portuguese to the schools in Sao Paulo.
Boa tarde.
Boa tarde.
Children are being introduced to Portuguese by a teaching assistant who speaks it as a first language, and children with Brazilian or Portuguese parents.
Mas o gato, mas o gato, não morreu, eu.
I came as a teaching assistant, and once I got here I found out that there was a link with Brazil, and that just really excited me, so I wanted to stay. Just learning any language, I think, is beneficial for anyone, but it will improve confidence, I think, anytime you learn something new. It's spoken in Brazil, which is a huge country population-wise and geographically as well. It's spoken in Africa, in Angola. My mother is from Angola. It's spoken in Mozambique, in Cabo Verde, the little island just off the coast of Africa. And it's spoken in parts of India and Goa. That was a Portuguese colony. So it's spoken, you know, everywhere. And now West Drayton will add it to the map.
That song, was that in Portuguese?
Yeah,
Yeah. Would it be different if it was in Brazilian Portuguese?
kind of. You know how they roll their tongues?
Yeah.
They wouldn't do that. They would more of a H sound.
In Berro, what would that be?
Berro.
Are you really excited about your friends learning Portuguese?
Really, really, really.
He's looking forward to learning Portuguese.
Me.
Me? Another effect of the cultural exchange can be seen here. Not every day is a carnival, but there's renewed enthusiasm for music and dance.
Excellent, good.
In front of an audience, our children have 21 opportunities in their 6-7 years in the school. And I think that's a marvellous way to encourage them to feel good about themselves. And there were echoes of that kind of approach in Brazil, where music and dance, things like capoeira, are very highly valued. And I came back determined, in the face of whatever encouragement there is to return to the more traditional approach to learning, that our creative curriculum would remain as creative as possible. I do believe that if we are going to make true connections with cultures, schools abroad, then a commitment on our behalf to understanding more than just the superficial aspects of the culture, to try to dig down and understand the language and the history and so on, is very important.
From pepping up performance to inspiring design work, from thinking about national identity to seeing other ways of life. Just small examples of the big impact that can be made by classrooms connecting beyond Britain.